Welcome
To Let's Speak on It.
I'm Kamisha,
I'm Latoya.
and here on Let's Speak On It, we talk about an array of topics from romantic relationships to self care tips and everything in between.
Today on Let's Speak on It, we're going to talk about relationship goals.
We understand about relationship goals, we understand the positive aspects of it, but today we're going to talk about just how relationship goals can go wrong. So, Latoya, tell me how you feel about it.
I feel like sometimes we put a lot into relationships and thinking that they're going to be like a fairy tale, and sometimes they're not. We were taught basically when we were kids about fairy tales. We were read to about fairy tales, princess stories, like Princess and the Frog, Cinderella, and we base our relationships on those aspects. We wait for a man to carry us off on a white horse, and sometimes it doesn't go that way.
You're absolutely right. And I feel like us as women, when we grow up, we try so hard to make relationships work that are just not meant for us. Um, you know, it's a persistence of let's try to make this work. This is my knight in shining armor. It's almost as if we need to sever relationships that don't serve us. In the past couple of weeks, I ran into a lot of women who have just been desperately trying to hold on to somebody who doesn't serve them. I don't know if you've had any experience with this, Latoya, running into like other women who are having a hard time of letting go.
I had experiences with that myself from my last relationship. I saw the signs, denied all the signs, wanting to make them work because I was, you know, you could say lonely, but you can't, just because you're lonely, you shouldn't deal with that certain type of stuff, behavior from a man, letting a man do whatever he wants to with you, because that lowers your self-esteem. The problem is we don't ask questions before we get into a relationship. We just jump right in, because of the fairy tale aspects. Oh, you want to be in love and you want to be cared for. And that's one of the biggest problems with females.
Yes, totally believe that. Like as little children, as little girls and little boys, we should also like encourage a lot of self-esteem, a lot of self-love because I feel like we are taught when we're younger like somebody else can love you to you loving yourself. Um I feel like once I got old enough, I learned that. Like I was always looking for love in all the wrong places cuz I felt like oh, I needed somebody to sweep me off my feet and love me until I can love myself. But I learned that that's not the way. I learned that I've gotten many heartbreaks from that because it's like you need to love yourself first. And then when the right person comes along who compliments you and who's like aligned with you and you don't see the red flags that you saw in the previous connections, you people are always going to have things that you disagree on. But I'm talking about the red flags, like the true red flags that you know you need to escape a situation. I feel like when you don't see those and you discern the relationship and it's an aligned connection, I feel like then and only then should you go forward in a connection once you have loved yourself enough, once you know your self worth. A lot of us just, try to make things work. And it stems from not loving yourself enough, not knowing your self worth.
It does stem from not loving yourself enough and not knowing your self worth, because when I was younger, my father wasn't in my life, and I looked because he wasn't in my life. My father lived a town over from me, and because he wasn't in my life, I grew up trying to find that love, and I looked for it in the wrong, on all the wrong places. Sort of like the Princess and the Frog. You could say, I kissed the wrong frog lots of times, not realizing that I had to love myself before I can like truly be in a relationship. It still stems from today. Like if you don't love yourself, you can't be in a relationship. If you don't love yourself, you don't know your worth. Your worth. And if you don't know your worth, then you shouldn't even be in a relationship. Like, you have to, I feel like need to date yourself. Like, you need to learn how to love yourself. Know what you like and what you don't like. Know what you want in a man and what you don't want in a man, in order for for that relationship to work. A lot of time on social media, they have these relationship goals that I can't stand. Where you look at that social media person and, oh my God, their relationship is perfect, but it's not like that. Like, you can't be jealous or envious of somebody else's relationship because you don't know what they're doing on the inside of their relationship. They're just showing you the outer shell of their relationship. You don't know what that person is going through. So I'm never jealous or envious of other people's relationships because I don't want to go through what they're going through.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, relationship goals is like high expectations and fairy tale simulations. For me, that just means like people have these high expectations on a big screen, especially on social media. They're posting these fancy pictures with color coordinate outfits and these beautiful aligned captions. And it's like you just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And I appreciate the people who, capture those candid moments when it's real. Like, people may argue, people are going through different things, and the realness and the genuineness from that should be portrayed more, because people, they want a fantasy, they want a fairy tale, they want to fix it, a Mr. Fix It. They want fix it fast, and I feel like we as a community as a whole, we all need to show that so that people can know what's real and what's fake. I feel like a society in general, we're living in a fairy tale esque environment, and I feel like for the future, for the children going forward, they need to actually live in reality and accept what reality is. I feel like this whole thing that happened in the past year has woken a lot of people up, and I feel like going forward, people are going to be more in tune with reality and what is. And honestly, that's one positive aspect coming out of it. There are a lot more. Unfortunately, there were a ton of lives lost, but yeah, I honestly feel like relationship goals, has put a hinder on the collective mind. But I feel like we need to put a focus on self worth and self love. And I feel like relationship goals can be attained through that aspect.
Because if you don't love yourself, how can you set goals? Like, if a man cheats on you, are you going to keep on going back to him because, oh, you want to make it work because you don't want other people to see that your relationship failed? Or if a man beats on you, are you going to stay there because it's the same aspect? What do you think are some signs of a relationship not working? Like, what signs should we look out for, Kamisha?
Some big signs you should look out for: if communication is not there, if your partner isn't being transparent with you, when you have an inkling that something's wrong and they're not saying anything, you're not saying anything, communication or lack thereof is a big red flag. What about you?
I feel like that too. I mean, in my last relationship, I didn't ask questions in the beginning. I didn't ask questions. It wasn't like 3 to 6 months down the line, I found out that he had 9 kids, and what he actually did, because I was stuck in this romantic phase of the relationship, not asking questions. And then when I found out who he was, I stayed with him for 3 years. And knowing throughout the relationship there was mistakes, people coming to me about things, and I knew, but I was like, I'm gonna stay with him. I'm gonna try to make this work out. And I became, it became a depression thing for me because I knew I shouldn't have been in that relationship. I felt like I shouldn't be in that relationship. I felt like, why am I dealing with this? But sometimes when you're lonely or you're trying to cover yourself, like cover the inside of yourself to where you need to feel that love, you'll deal with the nonsense. And I had to, sometimes you're going to have to rebuild the love for yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to rebuild that love for yourself. I mean, even when you're in a relationship and it ends, if you don't take the time out to heal yourself, you're going to realize, because you have soul ties, you're going to realize you're going to find that same exact person every time. Like every time you go to another relationship, you're going to find that same exact person because they're attached to you. You have to basically cleanse yourself from that person before you can even get in another relationship.
Yeah, I totally agree. I too was a victim of that. A victim that I put myself in that. And I don't even want to say a victim because it's like, you know better, you do better. So yeah, I completely agree. When you see the red flags, I myself didn't question a scenario. You know, you're enthralled with the beginnings of a relationship. You're happy, you're attracted to this person, things are going well. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to rock the boat. But guess what? Rocking the boat allows for you to be more clear in the intentions of the connection, who this person actually is, and put you on the right path. It can save you years, just like you said. Mm-hmm. I feel like once we're in a connection and we're invested, much like one of my connections, I was invested already before somebody disclosed that they were in another connection. So it's like, wow, like you have to literally ask these questions, because once you're invested, there's an energy of it's hard to detach. And like Latoya said, there are soul ties. So if you're invested and you're connected to this person, it's hard to break free. So better yet, ask those questions, rock the boat, and get aligned with who you're truly supposed to be with, and who has their best intentions.
And if he can't answer those questions, you're not meant to be with him. If he can't be open and honest with you when you're asking these questions, then go on. Like, you know your worth. You should know your worth, and you know what you're not gonna deal with. You know what you are gonna deal with. But don't stay with anybody, and you know it's wrong, because I stayed with him, and I knew that it wasn't gonna amount to something. I told my sister, I said, I will never marry him. I'm not going to marry him. So basically, I'm wasting my time and my space and my air on somebody that I wasted my time and space on somebody that it wasn't even a potential for me to marry, or potential for me to even stay that long. So
yeah, definitely. I totally agree, because I wasted my time as well. And as young women, and especially as young African American women, we have been wasting our time for centuries. And it's like, it's time for us to stand up and start asking the questions, start living in our truth, start continuing on the path of alignment, and what's really for you, instead of just trying to make pieces fit because it feels a certain way. I'm happy that you guys came out today and supported us in this podcast. I hope you resonate with the topic.
Please like and subscribe. We appreciate. Come back and see what we talk about next.
Bye.
Bye.